Reporting live from the United States of Embarrassment, I have your breaking good news now. Republicans are upset because the Dollar Tree dictator did not win the Nobel Peace Prize. They really thought he was going to win it? I'm confused. This is news to me because I knew that he wanted it, but you know, like a kid, when you take them to the store and they're like, oh, mommy, can I have that? Can I have that? You're like, no. And then they get them upset and throw a tantrum. I thought that's what this was. Obviously not. They really thought. The gag of all of this, though, guys, is that he lost to a Latina. So you're mad that you lost to a Hispanic lady. And President Obama won the award in 2009. So that's why y'all are mad. I just realized. My bad.
He lost to a woman, a Latino woman. Let that sink in.
Well, great fucking news today, right? We just found out that Epstein's friend won't be winning the Nobel Peace Prize because he had a chance to begin with.
MAGA, if you have to get online and beg for a Nobel Peace Prize, then 9 times out of 10, you do not deserve that Peace Prize. Putting aside that Trump is chasing a black man's success, there has been no peace in the United States. There has been no peace in the United States. You've attacked the farmers and their subsidies. You've attacked them and you've given money to Argentina. You've deployed the military on your own citizens, even when there is no reason to be deploying the military.
Oh, Trump didn't win the Nobel Peace Prize. You know who has won it, though? Obama. He's won it. So that means you're like a really bad president because you didn't even win it, but Obama did because you're like really bad. You want to guaranteed win at something? Go to the pumpkin patch and enter the biggest pumpkin competition and submit yourself. Guaranteed win, babes. Hurry, first place is waiting for you. What are you waiting for? Go!
A bit of advice to the leader of our country. Yeah, if you're chasing after the Nobel Peace Prize, I guess you shouldn't be starting wars in your own country, right? You don't get it, and you know what? You never will. Peace.
MAGA, how are you doing this morning? You really didn't think that that orange bastard was gonna win the Nobel Peace Prize, right? That prize is reserved for people who want to preserve peace, democracy, who are for helping others in need. And that person who happens to be a Latina, maybe instead of blocking Latinos from coming into your country and canceling their shows, maybe you should be more accepting of them so you learn a thing or two. It's reserved for people who have kindness in their heart, not for bastards who want to be a dictator. And that prize belongs to Maria Corina Machado.
Trump didn't win the Nobel Prize? I'm shocked. It's almost as if the Nobel laureates have a reasonably high level of intellect. You know what it is? The Nobel laureates are probably members of Antifa. Also, do you think Trump could even say laureates? Just curious.
Hey, guess who won 2025's Nobel Peace Prize? A Latina. A woman. A Venezuelan. And the speech that they gave was essentially a warning or a message or a big middle finger to the United States. More accurately, to the dictator-in-chief, the authoritarian fascist himself, Orange Man Donald Trump. Mr. I stopped 8 wars, when the whole world can see that you're the one inciting violence. Oh my goodness.
I can't fucking... Apparently the lady that won the Nobel Peace Prize, and the Latina lady that people have been hyping up in every single comment section, yeah, she dedicated it to Donald Trump.
Donald Trump complaining about not getting the Nobel Peace Prize is so on brand. I immediately went to ChatGPT and asked, has anyone in history ever complained about not getting the Nobel Prize? And I knew the answer, but I'm like, I need to ask and make sure. Of course not. Of course not.
Did anyone else wake up to these headlines that the orange man just lost the Nobel Peace Prize to a Latino woman and MAGA right now is in a tantrum? They are furious. I'm talking about meltdown levels of denial. Anger, and straight up regret. And honestly, you can actually feel it because this disappointment is not just about confusion. It's actually that moment when you realize that the guy you've been defending for years might actually not be the chosen one that you thought he was. Because this is the one moment where politics meets raw emotions. And this is not just about Trump losing something. It's that the thing that he wanted the most, global respect, validation, legitimacy, just went to someone else that he and his followers never saw as competition. Now, this is actually triggering something deeper in MAGA, especially the kind of fury and tantrum that they're showing. Think about it, because Trump has sold the narrative that he alone could restore America to world respect and greatness. Now, the international community just turned around and handed the badge of honor to a Latina woman who was actually fighting dictatorship in Venezuela. That's not just a snap, it's a mirror. And what's staring right now back at MAGA movement isn't glory, it's the realization that the world might actually see them differently than they see themselves. And now they are right here online crying about, in tears, furious, in a tantrum, trying to prove a point that the orange man actually deserved to win the Nobel Peace Prize. But I want us to check these videos that I've sampled for you guys. Let me know in the comments if you think actually that the orange man deserved to win this Nobel Prize, or they did right to give this badge of honor to the Venezuelan woman. Let me know in the comments. Let's take a look. I'll be back with more commentary after this.
This is music to my ears. You know for a fact he's throwing a fucking tantrum because a Latina and a woman from Venezuela received the Nobel Peace Prize. We already knew that he was gearing up to show force against Venezuela by sending the military to Puerto Rico. So now with this being said, we're going to see how quickly he actually puts boots on the ground in Venezuela. All for a tantrum because he couldn't get what former President Obama received. He is so jealous of former President Obama that he undid everything that Obama did. So much so that he wanted the Nobel Peace Prize. And for what? He's not creating peace. He's starting wars, not only with other countries, but in our streets. He's trying to pit Americans against Americans. Eat shit, Donnie.
Now why the fuck this moldy ass orange dusty musty look like a piece of fucking dry up raisin that fucking smell like worse than blue cheese bullshit that he was gonna win the Nobel Prize? Bitch, no! Congratulations to Corina Machado. I hope I pronounced her name right. You know, the icing on the cake is she's Latino and a woman. She definitely deserved that Nobel Prize.
So you're mad that you lost to a Hispanic lady, and President Obama won the award in 2009. So that's why y'all are mad. I just realized. My bad. The Nobel Peace Prize, the word in the middle, peace. I understand how important it is because I watched The Big Bang Theory because of Sheldon Cooper. But Nobel Peace Prize, you have caused destruction, disorder, and chaos. And you and your minions are mad that you didn't win. I don't understand the delusion. I do understand the delusion because I'm delusional about some stuff in life, but not about that. Like, that's a world type thing, not an America type thing. You can't pay people, you can't threaten people to vote for you like that in a world situation. You can do that. You're doing that here, but you can't do that over there. So yes, now I see it's making more sense. It's still not a smart thing to be mad about, but to each his own. And we have our own battles in life, and you're choosing this to be your battle.
He's embarrassed he didn't win. The Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to a woman, Venezuelan opposition leader Corina Machado, and it was awarded for her work in promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela. Very well deserved. Since Trump is currently destroying a democracy and also attacking Venezuela, I think this decision makes sense. However, 11 hours ago, Trump reposted apparently an opinion article from the Washington Post, which I will now be wiping my ass with, that I guess somebody actually went out and said that Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. Well, Trump has destroyed over a decade of my life personally, and I think a lot of you could raise your hands in agreement and say, this was the least peaceful decade of my 44 years. At least here in the United States. In fact, I cannot think of a single human being who has caused more hate and division in this country than Donald Trump. In any case, he has not addressed this morning. He has posted other things on Truth Social. He hasn't said a fucking word about this. Now, let me explain to you that all a narcissist wants, desperately, it's literally their lifeline. They want praise. They want constant praise. They want to be told they're the hottest, they're the smartest, they're the best, they're doing the best job. All Trump wants is to be awarded for every award, frankly. But he has been very obsessive about this. And what he is feeling right now in this moment is akin to shame. It's probably a little different the way that a narcissist feels it. And it does often come out as rage. So I do expect that he'll be throwing tantrums today, but he may not be honest about why he's throwing those tantrums. In fact, he might not say anything directly about this at all because, again, he's embarrassed. He just lost very publicly. And we can see he holds grudges for the rest of his life.
I'm sorry. Some Americans were expecting Donald Trump to win the Nobel Peace Prize of 2025? Donald Trump, of all people. Donald John Trump to win the Nobel Peace Prize. What peace has he brought to the world? Besides bringing terror into it and changing his own country into a dictatorship. Tell that orange slice to sit down.
Corina Machado won the Nobel Peace Prize, first of all, because she deserved it. Second of all, because she actually wanted peace. Her mission was to promote democratic rights in Venezuela. And she also was working tirelessly to transition from a dictatorship to a democracy, which is quite literally the total opposite of what that man in that Oval Office wants to accomplish in the United States. But for some reason, somehow, some way, he felt that he deserved the Nobel Peace Prize. Matter of fact, he said that if he did not get it, it was an insult to the United States of America. But the gag is, the United States is not insulted. You're the only one insulted, and you are butthurt because you did not win. DT, you don't even check off all the boxes of winning the Nobel Peace Prize. That man stood up there and said that you had to be brilliant. That's not you. Courageous. Like hell, that's you. And somebody with integrity. Nobody in their right mind with 34 felonies has integrity. To lift his spirits up after he lost, he let the people know that Maria called him personally and let him know that she was accepting the Nobel Peace Prize in honor of him because he was the one that deserved to win. My thoughts was, Maria, are you going to two-day ship that medal and that cash prize and that certificate that you just got? Yeah, I ain't think so. But you know what, DT? You still gotta win because you got a perfect score that no one has ever been able to do on your cognitive test.
All right, everybody, there you have it. Actually, I want us to understand the bigger picture here. There's a lot of people and a lot of creators have actually pointed this out. It seems like the orange man is actually very obsessed with Obama and doing and undoing every good that Obama did, and also achieving to some point everything that Obama achieved. Now, the fact that Obama was actually given the Nobel Peace Prize in his first term, I think that rubs the orange man off to some degree. He also wanted to actually win this Nobel Peace Prize, but it has not actually gone his way, and he actually doesn't like it. And that's why a lot of MAGA supporters are coming online in a tantrum, furious, in tears, angry about how a Latina woman actually beat the orange man to a Nobel Peace Prize, because a lot of people in the US hear Nobel Peace Prize and just think that it's some fancy European award. But historically, this matters. It's the world saying you stood up for peace, justice, or humanitarian rights when it wasn't easy. Think about Martin Luther King Jr. Think about Nelson Mandela. Think about Malala Yousafzai. People who literally risked their lives, not just for their reputations, but so that other people could actually benefit from their sacrifices. So when Trump campaigned for it like a trophy, it rubbed a lot of people off. And because this award isn't just about popularity, but about sacrifice, what sacrifice has the orange man actually done since he took office? You can tell me in the comments below if you are a part of MAGA. I am here to be actually corrected if there is any, because I would like to hear it. Because these MAGA supporters, a lot of them are furious for the fact that the orange man was beaten to this prize by a Latina woman. Now, who won and who is this woman? Maria Corina Machado is the winner for this year's Nobel Peace Prize. And who is she? She's not just some random name. She's a Venezuelan opposition leader who's been fighting one of the most aggressive governments in Latin America, the Maduro regime. Now, this woman has been arrested, banned from running for office, and a lot of things. Threatened and forced into hiding, all while still pushing for free elections and democracy in Venezuela. So when she actually wins this prize, it's not just her moment, it's the moment for every oppressed person in Latin America trying to take power back from dictators. Now, that's real weight there. That is sacrifice that the orange man and his MAGA support-based system has actually never known. Because when can you confidently say that, oh, this man actually did this, sacrificed this so that people could have humanitarian things? In other words, some creators have pointed out that instead of this man actually bringing peace back home, he has been the center of division among the population, especially in terms of the way that he has divided people of color and other people, especially with his policies, deportation policies, tariffs. He has actually sold out the American farmers with his tariff policies. Now, these are the facts that a lot of people are pointing out. Instead of bringing peace to American soil, he has actually ruined it. There is nothing good that he has done to actually deserve this Nobel Peace Prize. Let me know in the comments, guys, what do you think about it? Because I think that this man is actually so obsessed with Obama and what Obama achieved, because a lot of people can argue that Obama was the best administration that America has actually had for years, because this man inherited an economy in recession and went ahead and surpassed every metric, optics, survey that you have out there, especially in terms of literacy, education, in terms of healthcare, in terms of the economy performing well, in terms of joblessness. There's a lot of good things that Obama was doing in his administration. And I'm not trying to insinuate that he was the best president, that he was a saint without any of his shortcomings. Of course, he had his shortcomings, but for a while, every administration before him and after him, there hasn't been anything better. And that is exactly why a lot of people actually are pointing out that they actually miss those days when they had a real president who could speak and people listened, who had respect for everybody, not just the people who actually support him, but also the people who oppose him. Now, that is exactly why a lot of people on the left, a lot of Americans have been making fun hilariously on this MAGA actually going into a tantrum and fury because their savior, the orange man, did not win the Nobel Peace Prize. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about this? Do you think that he really deserved it, or do you think it was right to be given to a Latina woman? Because they don't actually like it that they lost to a Latina woman after what the orange man has been doing to the Latino community, especially with mass deportation. Let me know in the comments. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. See you on the next episode.